Back again here on Warchant TV, talking about the defensive side of the ball today with Michael Langston, senior recruiting analyst for Warchant.com. We already talked about offensive coordinator hires and what would help Florida State the most from a recruiting standpoint. Today, we're going to talk about defense and how would Florida State be impacted the most in the recruiting world from a defensive coordinator hire. So, Michael, of the names that you put on the board, it's an article you wrote for Warchant.com, excellent piece looking at top candidates for defensive coordinator. Who could help Florida State the most if we're strictly talking about recruiting?
Well, we're strictly talking about recruiting. To me, and I said this in the article, point blank, straightforward. Travarius Robinson from Georgia. Holy moly! You look at his pedigree. There was 7 5-stars when I researched everything that he's landed. Probably over 12, 4-stars. I mean, he is a Southeast guy that you certainly a lot of his coaching stints have been in the Southeast, and he would be a phenomenal addition from a recruiting side of point. Now, where you would coach him is kind of question, but from a recruiting alone, I don't think anybody can match his pedigree as far as what he brings in, the job he does from a recruiting standpoint. Whether you go back to his time at Miami or Florida or any place he's been, he has been elite. So he's the elite. He is the standard. I think, and everyone else is trying to measure up to, because his what he's landed is absolutely insane.
So it sounds like if you were to make him the defensive coordinator, you throw a Brinks truck at him, bring him over, and he brings that Rolodex of all the names and relationships he has to get you players on campus. Michael, if you were building the staff, you might have a position coach that's a little bit more of a veteran that can be a good balance and a voice in the room of experience.
Yeah, maybe that, or you can throw in a combination of him and somebody else. I don't know if that's possible or that's the way Mike's thinking, but in some ways, if you can do that, where you can pull him, certainly from a recruiting standpoint, I think you're going to be in a really good spot, because that's Tom. I'm not, and it's not hammering on the guy that they got fired, but that was my biggest really complaint with Fuller, was the recruiting wasn't really strong from him. Now, it doesn't mean he wasn't involved in these recruitments, but you didn't hear a lot of kids go in there and say, "Hey, I'm going to Florida State because of Adam Fuller." I think your DC has to be a solid recruiter, unless the rest of your defensive staff is phenomenal from a recruiting perspective. And certainly, I don't think that's the case with at FSU. So I think getting a guy that has a lot of recruiting prowess at DC position is very important. I think both of your coordinators. Now, we saw that with Alex. Alex certainly landed some guys, but the product wasn't what it needed to be. But I think overall, your coordinators, for me, I think it's a massive thing to have your coordinators be solid recruiters. I think it really elevates your program, and I think, yeah, if you can go with a combination of T. Rob and somebody else, I think that would be probably even the best case scenario.
So we won't get into every single name it's in the article that Michael wrote on warchant.com, but I do want to ask about 2 more, Michael. The first is there's a connection through Dan Lanning. This is every time that it seems like if you're a coach that's part of a tree, it could be the Saban tree, it could be your own. You name a coaching tree, Brian Kelly, whatever. When there's an opening on that coach's staff, they go back to the roots of the tree and they say, all right, or the branches. Is there anybody that connects here? And certainly for Mike Norvell, co-defensive coordinator at Oregon, and Chris Hampton, he's a defensive backs coach as well, does have a connection. Mike Norvell could pick up the phone, call Dan Lanning, and say, what do you think? Is he ready for this? And would he serve us well? What do you think about this particular idea?
I like him a lot, and I mentioned like the combination of a guy, maybe a Hampton and a T. Rob. That's something you could do, but that would be kind of my dream scenario when I look at it. But I love guys that, like I said, familiarity is a big deal when you go in those homes and in homes. They're a big deal, and I think a lot of Hampton. I think it kind of talked about that in the offense, where you're looking for that balance, both team and recruiting, and I think certainly Hampton does that. It's not the strength of you saw with T. Rob, obviously, but from a recruiting perspective. But I think there's a lot of things you like recruiting, his ability to just connect with different guys, different personalities. You look at a lot of the guys that he landed, it's in different a few different places. So I like that. That means he can resonate with different personalities, different places, because not every state is the same way as far as how you maybe recruit a kid. Some things matter more than the others. So tells me he does a really good job of adjusting to different personalities and different things that are valued in the recruitment. So I like him a lot as far as that full balance that I'm kind of looking for. I think he certainly stands out. And there's a few others. I'm sure one other that you'll bring up that I'll probably talk about is in there that has that balance. But overall, I think Chris is exactly kind of what I look for.
Are you thinking of the young up-and-comer that's at Georgia Tech? Is that
I
the name
am.
you're thinking of?
I
Okay,
am.
so that's the last one we'll go to today. That would be Tyler Santucci,
Yeah.
who, again, is a fast riser. If you prefer, and you're a fan out there on the message boards or here on Warchant TV, and you said, give me somebody young. I want somebody who understands modern college football with modern problems and has shown that they can perform. What say you about Santucci at Georgia Tech and his journey?
Yeah, their product speaks for itself of what they've done this year. Incredible year. I put this in the story that they now have the 21st rated class in the country. Now on paper you're like, oh, 21, that's nothing. But if you look at their history, they're 50 and 60 usually. So him and other guys have done a great job. There as far as their ability to relate to kids and connect kids, and and his defenses are very fun. And then recruiting wise, he's done a great job resonating with a lot of these kids and at the different spots he's been. And it's to me, it's very impressive. And it's a guy that I've said this a lot during this video. I really look for that balance of can you do both, and that's what you kind of look for. You don't want somebody that's just all recruiting and no substance on the coaching standpoint. So you got to have you're looking for that balance, and I think Santucci fits that. My dark horse it would be Travis Williams, not trying to cover everybody from Arkansas. I love what he does. I love his defenses. Probably a higher recruiting guy than Santucci. I think I'd put him right behind T-Rob, but that's a guy that is very intriguing to me, Tom, because I love what he does on defense. I love his innovativeness as far as what he does, and recruiting wise, he's a monster.
Wouldn't that swing Florida State a linebacker recruit in theory? Maybe at the 11th hour, Michael.
It certainly would help their chances. I would
Yeah.
say that, but I just think, and he's young too, and we talk about that. I just like the different things that he would bring, and I think that would give you an amazing excitement boost when it comes to a guy that is certainly and he's well respected. I checked with people that have either covered Travis or things like that, and they spoke very highly of him. Most of the time, you hear if they're young guys, it's like, yeah, he's really good in recruiting, but you don't hear so much about the team part of it. And from the team part, you hear a lot of positive things about Travis and what he does and the innovativeness and how innovative he is, how his way he connects with players, because that's the real thing, right? Where you're looking for a guy that you can teach him, but if it doesn't process on the field, it doesn't matter. And I think with him, he's pretty high in that category. So that's why he's kind of a dark horse, in my opinion, for guys you're considering in this job.
Well, certainly if you want to be different than you were previously, if you're Mike Norvell and you want to have a different mark on your 2.0 staff, getting younger on the defensive side with those coaches would certainly be a deviation, because right now, or the way things were constructed just about a week ago, taping of this, Adam Fuller and Randy Shannon were among your top two, and Odell Hagen's on the front line. I mean, it's not the youngest coaching crew in the world. We'll see if Florida State decides, Michael, to go a little bit younger. One way that you can get involved in this conversation. Yes, we are always making sure that you're aware of the specials that are at warchant.com. It's the 150 special, everybody. It's $1 for 7 days of access to warchant.com. $1 for 7 days, and you're like, okay, then what? Oh, then what? You get half off an annual subscription. We got it for you. The 150 special, $1 for 7 days. Try us out. See what it's all about. It's the largest FSU fan community in the business with great analysis on both sides of the aisle. And by the aisle, I mean team reporting and what Michael does so well, which is the recruiting reporting. And this is where it gets fun. Half off your annual subscription. Give us a shot for a week. See what you think, and then enjoy the savings. They keep on coming. It's the $1.50 special. No code needed at all. Just go to warchant.com and hit sign up. Michael, any final thoughts or anything more that you're going to be watching for in the next couple of weeks in the world of recruiting?
No, this is a lot of fun. I contact Ira, say, hey, what do you think of me, piggybacking off Gene a little bit and just doing this kind of recruiting part? And I figured it'd be a good idea, and it was fun. We have a lot of stuff coming up. Certainly anything related with the FSU commits or reaction, or if there's a coaching hire, we'll certainly be on top of, right on it. Just the impact it will make from a recruitment perspective. So we'll do that. I have my Michael's mailbag, which is my Q&A with a lot of you guys and members. That should be coming up in the coming days or early next week. So that's we'll have a lot more coming. This is the time to get on, guys. He showed you the promo, but man, this is the time because you're about to hit the portal time. You're about to hit, serious time. Kids are signing on December 4th. Coaches are going to be hired. Can't FSU get coaches in before December 4th? That weekend. December 1st, ours, his season ends as far as being happy. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff, firing left and right, and so we'll have you covered as far as recruiting. We'll nail it, and we'll jump on it. And so there's a lot. You can't pick a greater time, Tom, to jump on the board with Warchant.
I don't know how much you watch the NBA or used to watch the NBA, Michael, but Jeff Van Gundy, when he coached for the New York Knicks way back in the 90s, used to get these dark circles under his eyes, and he was famous for them. That is what we're going to do in December. December is a completely different month than it used to be in the college football calendar. Let us go to work for you at warchant.com. And always stay tuned here on Warchant TV. Hit the like button underneath the video. Subscribe to the channel. That's always going to be free, and we're going to keep you up to date with as much inside information as we can provide. For Michael, I'm Tom. We will talk to you next time here on Warchant TV. And if you haven't checked out the offensive coordinator segment, we've got that linked at the bottom of the video.